Good afternoon, and welcome to the Town of Surf City regular meeting. We got a feedback. If you would at this time, please stand as we call to order this meeting for the invocation by Scott Painter, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather at this meeting, we thank you for this council, for our mayor, our city staff, our first responders, law enforcement, all those who work to make this place we call home such a wonderful city, Lord. We come humbly before you, asking for your wisdom and understanding to guide us. Your word tells us if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God. He gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. So today we seek that wisdom, Lord, trusting that you will grant us this insight we need to navigate the decisions ahead. Help us to approach each discussion, Lord, with humility, open hearts, clear minds. Fill us with the spirit of discernment. As your word tells us, for the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. We acknowledge true wisdom comes only from you, and we rely on you to guide our thoughts and our actions. Grant us the patience to listen to one another and the grace to understand different perspectives. Let your truth be foundation of our decisions, and may everything we do be done in love and unity, always striving, Lord, to reflect your will. As we move forward, give us peace, knowing that your hand is upon us and that you are directing our steps. We pray for courage to do what is right and good for all citizens. May we put the interest of others above our own. May we act with love for the common good. May we be good neighbors, recognizing your image in every person here. We thank you for your constant presence and for the wisdom you so freely offer to us. Lead us today, Lord, and always, that everything we do may give glory and honor to your name. And we ask this in the mighty name of Jesus. God's people said, amen.
Thank you, Mr. Painter, for leading us in our invocation. At this time, I want to call forth Andy and Wyatt Bland, and they're going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to hand them the special mic here, and if you would follow their lead.
Wait. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have Beautification and Enhancement Committee Awards, and I'm going to call upon Sandy Moreau to come forward and present the awards this month.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Today, the first item that we have is our Business of the Month.
You can have the wireless if you want it.
Oh, that's okay. So the winner of the Business of the Month this month is the Topsail Tide Boat and RV Storage. And is Mr. Mike Ellis here today? Oh, there he is. So I know that this went through many, many meetings and discussions and everything else, but I have to say, I think it was really worth it. So I don't know how pleased you are, but I'm pleased that council really stuck it to you guys and made you do a beautiful job, because it really makes a nice entryway.
Some validation for all we went.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for our home of the month this month, it's 103 Pelican Court, which is Ms. Charlotte and Mr. Michael Moore, and I understand they're here today. Thank you. And I know you want to have a picture, so if we turn around here. And how we choose our home of the month is just, it's not about how big or how grand or how perfectly manicured your lawn is. It's really just about showing pride in your property and doing a little something extra so it makes it beautiful for our citizens and our visitors to travel around our town and see how much we love where we live. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, Sandy. At this point in time, we'll move forward with the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to amend the agenda and add an item prior to adjournment for a closed session for attorney-client privilege.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to add closed session after council forum. Next item,
Madam Mayor, now would be a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
okay, let's make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to adopt the agenda. Next item is the approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
Take a second and work on this back feed.
At this time, we'll move forward with public comments, and I'll call upon Kyle.
Do you have to sign in? I have it, Madam Mayor. And I'll try to get everybody's name correct, and I apologize if I mess it up.
Just take a pause to fix this. Yeah. Possible.
Turn off yours. We'll do a test here. No. Test.
Shut the mics off. Just kill the mics. We'll talk with them.
The handheld? Yes. We still have it echo. Please bear with us a few minutes.
Batting third and playing first base.
Test. Then we got it. Test. Thank you, James. Thank you, Chris. All right.
We have several members of the audience that would like to speak. The first is Alan Bowlesby.
Mayor, Council. I live over here in Waterside, and I know this is on for your old business.
If you don't mind, could you state your name and your address?
Alan Bowlesby, 116 Swing Bridge Trail, here in Surf City. The questions I have for the council and for Ziggy Ventures is, I looked at their proposal, and they're bringing in all this fill dirt to build up that pad for the building, and all their drainage goes into that pond. Well, the emergency spillway for that pond dumps into our neighborhood, and respectively, it goes into the wetlands right there behind the business that backs up to mine and my neighbor's yard. And we actually own part of that wetland. And our problem is with that emergency spillway spilling into that, it's going to end up coming into our yards. And we've had enough erosion to where we had to fight to get a retaining wall built by D.R. Horton in there. And we're just wondering if that's the proposal that they're going to do, to have the water spill into there. And then D.R. Horton ended up building their own spillway from the wetland into the pond. And with all that water coming in there and then going into the pond, I've talked to DEQ myself, and they've already said that D.R. Horton has a problem with the dam that they built at the end of that pond, and they still haven't addressed. So with all that water coming in, it's going to sit there and take over that dam, and we're just wondering what's going to happen with all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Tara Moody.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Tara Moody. I'm a mother of 5 and a substitute teacher here at Surf City. I'm here today because of many of the residents of
Ms.
Waterside.
Excuse me, can you state your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that part. I'm at 103 Swingbridge Trail in the subdivision of Waterside. And I'm here today because many of the residents of Waterside have great concerns about the approval of the Ziggy Ventures site plan to allow a commercial access into their establishment through our residential road. My number one top concern, being a mother of 5, is the amount of children that reside in Waterside. The proposal of the Edgewater Way commercial entrance exit can be potentially catastrophic to the children in the neighborhood, who all enjoy being outside and playing year-round. We have already experienced major speeding through the neighborhood with the beach traffic cut through from the belt through 250. Now there will be more opportunity for people who have been eating and drinking alcohol at this establishment to make a right onto Edgewater to go back through the entrance towards Belt. My number 2 concern is many of us are concerned for potential damage to our roads, litter. We all pay into an HOA for the maintenance of Waterside. If your vote is for approval, we will strongly ask you to consider that this establishment should also be responsible to pay towards funds for any kind of maintenance or extra debris removal. We are also experienced with an immense amount of traffic backup in the past summers. The light at Edgewater and 50 has a tremendous wait time, and we're concerned about the backflow of traffic. Number 4, we would like to know if an actual North Carolina Department of Transportation study was actually done, and if so, will that be provided for public viewing, stating that they can have that entrance not be on 50. There's also a big concern of the water runoff and flooding and the barrier between the back of the property and Edgewater community. There's not enough buffer to block out potential sound and light disturbances for the residents that reside on Swingbridge Trail and Edgewater Way. Number 5, my point is that we have well over 600 voting residents of Waterside, and we are asking you to consider, please, the repercussions for this board to approve the Ziggy Venture current site plan with a commercial entrance going through our neighborhood, a residential residence. The effects that it would have during the next elections to come. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Stephen, looks like Ray. Stephen at 703. I can't read the address either. Someone with Waterside?
It's okay.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Stephen Prey, and I live at 703 Airlie Vista Lane. My main concern is I hear there's going to be a saloon in this group of establishments. And you're going to be sending drivers who are in an inebriated state through our subdivision. The roads that we have going through our subdivision are probably state minimum width. We are not allowed to park on the curb side of our streets. And we have lots of children that are out playing at all times of the day and evenings and late at night. And the mere fact that you would allow traffic coming from a saloon to pass through our subdivision is irreprehensible. And I hope that you will consider this as you choose to vote against this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have David Brown at 114 Swingbridge Trail.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and the board. David Brown, 114 Swingbridge Trail. I spoke last time about this regarding us being landlocked with beach traffic cutting through the neighborhood, no way to get out of the Edgewater entrance on 50, no way to make a left-hand turn on Belt Road out the back entrance because that traffic backs all the way up to the turn that goes west on Belt. That's one of the issues that I have. Second issue, I was kind of like at the light at Bats Road, and something came to me, and I realized you have Dollar General on the left, you have this restaurant that's going to open on the right. They say they can't have an entry and exit on 50, yet there's an entrance and exit on 50 at Dollar General. Dollar General's exit and entry is probably going to be closer to the light than the restaurant, and they still have probably 15 feet. They can move their entry to the far left of their property. This Ziggy Ventures gave an entry to the far right of their property. There's no reason why they can't have an exit there to eliminate this easement. There's a traffic problem only at the restaurant side, but you have traffic going in and out of Dollar General, and then you're going to be adding a 40,000 square foot indoor entertainment facility that only has access and egress to 50. So if anything, there's more of a traffic problem on the Dollar General side than there is on the restaurant side. There's no reason why that they can't redraw their drawings, eliminate the easement, move their building back, and at the far right of their corner, right corner of their property, closest to the bridge side, that they can't put an access and egress just like Dollar General. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joe Bryan of 342 Edgewater Way.
Good evening, Joe Bryan, 342 Edgewater Way. I echo the concerns of all my neighbors, and most of us moved into this neighborhood when it was first being established. There was no, D.R. Horton didn't give us any information. They didn't tell us that there was going to be a restaurant. We know that there's development in the city, and we know that that's typically a good thing. So my request would be that the developer works with our neighborhood to make, if this is already going to get approved, I heard by working with a few people from the city that parts of this plan were already approved, which is frustrating because we moved in not knowing that. If that's the case, I'm requesting that we get help or at least get a meeting or something with the developer to discuss some of these issues that my neighbors have brought up, because there are legitimate concerns for traffic, for the children, for the water flow. And to us that have lived here, and we love this community, as Tara said, that we all are voting members of this community, and we've brought over 500, 600 homes to the city. That's a lot of people that have a voice. So that's my request to the council and to the developers. If you guys could try to work with us to try to, if this is going to get approved, to make it a fair relationship so it's not disrupting the city.
Thank you.
Sandy Monroe of 316 North Shore. Okay. And then Larry Rice is our final speaker at 712 Cockle Street, maybe? Cockle Street, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Larry Rice. I live at 712 Cockle Street. I kind of echo the concerns and basically the safety concerns of the folks that are in here from Waterside, excuse me. My concern is J.H. Batts Road from Roland Avenue going towards the new park. We have built a beautiful new park. I live very, very close to the park. I drive J.H. Batts Road in Royal Palm on a daily basis. And there are people in the road. We don't have good access to and from our community center, J.H. Batts Road. There are people that are kids that are walking, kids and adults that are walking from the Waterside neighborhood on the side of the road at dark. You can't see them. Consideration of, I'd love to see a sidewalk there, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's probably the requirement of the property owners. Consider putting some street lighting in on J.H. Batts Road. I feel like that as a safety measure for the individuals that are utilizing our park in down J.H. Batts Road. Once you leave the park facility, it is pitch black. And I feel very, very worried about people traversing that road. On down past J.H. Batts Road is Royal Palm. In front of Royal Palm, on Royal Palm, there is a Surf City sewer lift station. In front of that lift station is a manhole that has been worked on several times by the town. Right now, there's a gravel pit there. Your town people go by that facility on a regular basis. Why something hasn't been done by the town, that in itself is another safety issue that I feel like is a problem. There's a large dip in the road right at that very same location, so people dodge the dip and dodge the hole that's in the road and end up in the middle of the road. And with the way the sun goes down in the evenings now, you can be blinded by the sunlight and somebody be in your lane, and it's a head-on collision. So the other thing I think council needs to consider, and it's probably a DOT issue, is decreasing the speed limit on J.H. Batts Road down to 25 miles an hour. We've got too much traffic on that road for it to be above 25 miles an hour. You put 25 miles an hour, they're going to go 35.
Thank you, Larry.
We need that elsewhere as well.
That's all the speakers.
All right, thank you for your public comments tonight. Everything that you have said will be taken into consideration. We're going to move forward to our next item on the agenda, which is public hearing. I'm going to call upon Amy Combs to come forward. Dex 2C rezoning request.
Good evening. For the Dex to C rezoning request, the applicant has officially withdrawn his application, and I will not be presenting that tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. All right, item number 2 is annexation agreement with the town of Hawley Ridge. Kyle Brewer, our town manager, will present.
Madam Mayor, we have been talking about this topic for a couple of months now. But the towns of Surf City and Hawley Ridge formally entered into an annexation agreement in September 2007 with a 20-year agreement term, which is in your packet. North Carolina General Statutes 160A-58.21 states the purpose of an annexation agreement is, in summary, to authorize cities to enter into binding agreements concerning future annexation in order to enhance orderly planning by such cities, as well as residents and property owners in areas adjacent to such cities. In addition, it appears that the annexation agreement between the two towns was for the purpose of designating one or more areas which are not subject to annexation by one or more of the participating cities, likely to maintain a cohesiveness of municipal operations and identity. The towns collectively have identified modification requests to this agreement. The town of Surf City would request that we have the ability to annex property owned by Surf City for the operation of our existing wastewater treatment and disposal areas. We call that facility a Sarge Martin facility. And the town of Hawley Ridge is seeking opportunity to potentially annex property in Pender County directly adjacent to the Camp Davis Industrial Park. A public hearing has been advertised to seek public comment on the intent of the town of Surf City to seek the modification to the existing agreement by extending the terms for another 20 years, as well as further consider the ability to annex lands covered under the existing agreement. An additional notification will take place, providing for another 60 days before those lands are brought forward for consideration. What you have here is just to seek public comment through a public hearing process on the initiation of the consideration of amending that annexation agreement with the town of Hawley Ridge.
Thank you, Kyle. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open public hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Is there anyone?
Nobody signed up?
No one has signed up. Is there anyone here that would like to speak or ask questions concerning the public hearing? If you do, please come up to the mic and state your name and address, please.
My name's Larry Rice, again at 712 Cockle Street. I honestly didn't realize that we were going to annex Hawley Ridge, so I have a few questions. What are we doing with schools, or is that something that's already been?
So the specific request is for the town to be able to annex property that we already own within Hawley Ridge, which is the operations of our wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
And essentially, when we go and make modifications, we have to go through the town of Hawley Ridge to seek permits. We would like to control that. This has nothing to do with any lands outside of what we already own.
Understood. I thought we were buying Hawley Ridge.
Yeah, no.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak during this public hearing? Anyone else that would like to speak during this public hearing? If not, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Public hearing is now closed. It is requested that the town council consider approval of the agreement as presented. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to approve public hearing on the annexation agreement with the town of Hawley Ridge. Next item up is under old business, and Amy Kimes will come up and we will move forward with Ziggy Ventures LLC site plan.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The Ziggy's site plan was originally heard on the December 3rd, 2024 meeting. There were a lot of questions about access and NCDOT and whether or not there would be access allowed off of 5210. The applicant did reach back out to the NCDOT. We have a revised site plan that does allow for a right-in access. As a part of that right-in access, it's also going to increase the right turn lane full width by about 175-ish feet plus taper, so you will have a significantly longer right turn lane that will provide access to the existing decor store, this new site, plus that will all be one continuous that goes into the Waterside subdivision. So we did reach out, we did talk with DOT. right out or any out is not acceptable in this location. There were a lot of questions about why the Dollar General had one and why they can't have one. Well, the road didn't exist when the Dollar General was built. Therefore, the road wasn't taken into consideration when the Dollar General built. The piece of commercial property had not been subdivided to allow for the road access to Waterside. As we have discussed, this parcel was subdivided to allow that road to come in, and the access points are deeded accesses that were a part of the subdivision that allowed for Waterside to have access to NC 5210. Otherwise, the parcel known as Waterside was a landlocked parcel from the NC 5210 connection. So again, as a part of the site plan, we have gone back, we have worked with DOT. It will allow for a right-in access only. So that has been included in your site plan tonight. If there are any other questions that you would like for me to answer, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Amy. So at this time, the floor is open to council if you have any questions for Amy.
The applicant is also here.
The applicant is here. Would y'all like to come up and present? You would please state your name.
I'm Yates Chambliss, Chambliss and Raper Contractors here in Wilmington.
And Kyle Herring, Alfred Benish and Company, civil engineer here in Wilmington.
First of all, I want to state that we completely are understanding about the concerns with the community and behind what the Waterside community. I have friends that live there, and so I definitely understand what it could cause as far as traffic goes. What I would like to do, and I think one of the last gentlemen that spoke, I can speak for my client that we are willing to meet with Waterside's HOA or whoever we need to satisfy road cleanup, be a part of that. Anything else that they would want to think of during construction, we're amenable to working out with them. We want to be a good neighbor. We hope that the turn lane access that we jumped right on after last meeting, we did our due diligence and we got that going. I want to also address the overflow of the retention pond. We are in the process of creating easements to the adjacent property owners that go from our property to the Surf City Bridge. And we've gotten approval verbally from all the property owners to provide easements and our own emergency spillway that will not be impacted into Waterside, that will go into the areas that we know we can dump it in. So we're trying to address that as well and that concern. And then all the other adjacent property owners are going to do the same thing as they develop theirs. So that's all I've got.
Yeah. And the only other thing that I'll add to that is with the last revision, there were 2 sheets that were added. So we did add some additional riprap attached to our emergency spillway that will direct that conveyance to this proposed. That's a naturally low area. I mean, there's a reason that the adjacent developer also put their pond in that area. This is the natural conveyance between the properties, and it will benefit those other property owners because they'll also need that drainage conveyance when they, further develop their parcels. And just a clarification, I believe it's our owner's intent to offer a full-service restaurant with a bar. It's not our intent to come in and develop a bar or saloon on this property.
Yeah, I can go ahead and say it because we just got the lease, that he got the lease signed at the end of this past year, but it's a 6,500 square foot shell building that will house 4,200 square foot restaurant. It's Cape Fear Seafood, locally owned restaurant. Restaurants in Southport, Wilmington, now here, one in Raleigh. And then my client is also going to open up a surf shop with his son that's going to house the other 2,000 square feet. So that's what you're going to have there in long-term leases, and that'll stay there for a while. So we appreciate y'all's time here.
I have a question. Just want to clear this. I see the entrance, that's right turn lane to come in. I don't remember what gentleman it was, but he asked, is it possible to have an exit on the same side of the road? I just want to clear that up. I want you to clear that up. Is it because it would be too close to the intersection, or is it just because it's not feasible?
It's a combination. So NCDOT will not allow a right in, right out. So they are not going to allow an out exit. And the primary concern with that is people that want to leave through that that exit, they would have to make, they only have 120-ish feet to transverse a turn lane, a through lane, another turn lane. So you're adding traffic onto 50 that will create an unsafe movement for people trying to shoot over 3 lanes of traffic to make the light. So
it's a DOT no-no.
yeah, DOT
Correct.
absolutely.
I just wanted you guys to make
That's
that
right.
clear so that they understand it, because some people think, well, why can't they just slide this or that? But there's more to it than that. Okay.
And like Amy described, the new turn lane, it will add capacity to entering Waterside as well. So it's going to actually add a taper for the drive upstream of us, the Carolina Decor property. They're actually going to have a taper now, drive, and then a full turn lane, all the way to the light.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So you have verbal agreements based on your drainage system in the back in the event that doesn't come to fruition?
And we are going to, we actually have a meeting tomorrow with our surveyor, because we're going to begin drafting those easements and have them all in place, so. that's
If for some reason that doesn't happen, is that considered part of the plan, and would that all come back to us again then? Would that be a revision on the plan?
Go ahead.
It'd be part of their state stormwater permits. So they have to have all of their state and federal permits in place before they can do that.
But like what they're proposing here, that's part of the plan,
they
is that, so if they can't do that, then do they have to bring a plan back to us that has
They can't
adjustments?
get a state stormwater permit, then the state says you can't build.
Okay.
Amy doesn't
Her
say you
question
can't
is,
build
is
necessarily,
the state permit going to require the easement along all of those properties?
but it requires that you show your outlet.
Yeah.
And that you have
Correct.
access to that outlet.
Yeah, and we're very close to having our state permit as well.
Yeah, just some minor comments from last time.
Annie, you might help with this too. I know they mentioned the lag time in the light. The additional traffic at that light is actually going to help them, correct? Because they're going to have more flow in and out from that
Whenever
light.
you are the person with the least amount of traffic, the most effective traffic is a signal, is a balanced signal, meaning that you are distributing traffic similarly around. So if you are the person with the absolute least amount of traffic, you are going to get the absolute least amount of time in the signal system, always. So balancing the traffic between them and JH Bats will help balance that movement.
We know intended like hours of operation for the restaurant.
Yeah, they're a lunch and evening establishment. They open at 11, and I think they're closed by 9. And it's not a late night place by any means.
So when you look at the trip generation that's in the packet, that actually assumes that you are a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that 900 that is in here is actually a high number and an overstatement, because it's assuming that the restaurant is getting about 40 people in the AM that they won't be getting. So the numbers will actually be less than what's in the.
The trip generation was also done based on it being a restaurant, not a retail shop as well. Oh,
has
it was for
broken-
both? Okay.
It has it broken down between the two, but it's based on the restaurant being open all day, not just a midday and PM peak. So the number will be lower on the trip generation.
Okay. I have another question. Now that the property is not cleared, how much are you going to leave? How much vegetation are you going to leave that is closer to their retention pond and their property? I mean, you're going to leave trees, whatnot. I know because that's probably a concern of these neighbors, that they don't want to just look out at a cleared area into a restaurant.
Yeah, and we actually, for the buffering requirement on the back of that parcel, we're required to add shrubs, but we did actually, so for clearing and grading, we're gonna have to, manipulate the grades back there, which to construct the pond, which is gonna be detrimental to the vegetation. So things that we would try to save would probably end up looking really bad. But, we did provide shrubs back there for screening, but we also, as part of our plan, did provide some trees back there. Certainly we'd be open to providing, maybe
Sure.
a couple more, a few more that might provide better screening. I think what we provided back there was crepe myrtles, which, can be lower, have more of a lower canopy and more of a spread to kind of try to assist with that buffering, and that's always been part of the plan.
Would
Okay, so
fencing be an option too, that we could also do?
You're thinking that it just won't be cleared completely to the ground. In other words, there's going to be something there.
post-construction, it will be cleared during
Well, yeah, well, I know that
Yeah,
you have to
yeah.
do that, but, because why would you leave weeds?
Yeah,
I mean, I understand
post-construction, there
that.
will be vegetation. There will actually be vegetation on the property line side of the pond, shrubs, some crepe myrtles, some vegetation.
Okay.
And then actually on the, between the parking lot and the pond, there's also additional shrubs that will be there for some additional screening.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. All right, thank you. That's it for me.
I'm gonna ask Brett. Legally, as far as the entrance into the residential road, they have an easement. Do we have the ability to tell them yes or no as far as that usage?
If they have the legal right, they can use that property. And I haven't seen the deeded easement. I've understood from these conversations that that's part of they have the deeded easement for that area, so they have the legal right to use it.
Which does make this a by right property.
From a zoning standpoint, it is a by right development. In their deed, they have two deeded accesses in the deed that say they have two deeded accesses. They are choosing to use one deeded access with this site plan.
Amy, just to clarify, everything from basically Publix all the way to the Roland Beach access is zoned commercial on both sides of the road.
Yes, ma'am, and has been for multiple years,
How many years?
since before me. I'm not sure. It has definitely, as we came off the island, I believe that corridor was put in as C3, those front parcels. The waterside parcel was rezoned from rural agriculture to PUD to MFC, so it's been rezoned 3 times to allow the density that it has.
It is potentially that all of the mobile homes, as you go down Highway 50 heading to the bridge, could one day be commercial property and not residential.
Any vacant piece of property from the intersection all the way to the bridge is commercial and could become a commercial use. Our C3 use is our most dense use.
Thank you.
What's the best way for the community members to get a hold of you guys?
Be happy to leave all my contact information, and I want to stress that as soon as they want, the members want us to get together with my client, we're willing to certainly do whatever it takes to keep them satisfied. We understand that there's concern.
Yeah, because we remember from the last council was brought up that, the construction traffic, the loading of construction vehicles onto the road through that access point, so absolutely that's something that we want to, be good neighbors to the development.
I have another one. Your construction traffic is going to basically come off of 50 and 210?
Yes.
So you're not going to use Belt Road for construction traffic?
No, I didn't even realize you could get through there until now.
Well, you can't. No, I'm really kidding. Sorry, I blew that one. But, no, I mean, because I know that's going to be that would be a major concern. So if you could.
We're Wilmington-based, and all of my trades will come through so they'll be coming from Wilmington and into that way, for sure.
Okay, well, that might be something that they want to discuss with you, but I mean, I'm sure that's something that they're thinking about that they would not be happy with.
Sure, and of course, we're willing to put up temporary signage, anything like that, any kind of financial penalties if we don't do something right. I mean, we understand what we're dealing with, and we want to make sure that we do the right thing.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make sure it's clear, the town will not be involved in brokering any of these deals. That's going to be between the applicant and property owners of Waterside, and I would suggest that Mr. Chambliss, if you can get your contact information to Mrs. Kimes, and then we will distribute that to the community member that they elect to reach out to us, and then again, we got to follow the ordinance with the ordinance standards right now. I wish everybody luck in brokering those deals, but that's not something that we can be involved with. I just want to make sure that there's not an expectation that the town will be involved in those agreements.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So at this time, if no one has any more questions, I'm sorry. Please come up to the microphone. Or you're with the group?
Yes.
Yep. Please come up to the microphone and state your name and address.
I've got a slight physical issue that I can't stand long. You do know that. I'm Norman Chambliss. I'm Yates's dad. Company's been in business for 50 years. My family bought our home on Topsail Beach in 1963. Our reputation as contractors and stewards of the community is very important to our company. Of course, I'm from Rocky Mount. I've moved permanently to Wilmington 15, 20 years ago. Most people in the audience are familiar with our company and that you go in places we built before, Dr. Blair's new medical building, the veterinarian hospital, the new dental office for Steve Smith. We take very seriously the perception that the community has about how we conduct ourselves. So we don't want to be the bad guys, and we don't want to be the out-of-town guys. We are part of Surf City, part of the Topsail Island group. I worked at Warren Soda Shop as a child. I helped Mara Smith start that rescue squad. I knew your grandparents at the Ms. Batt's store. I guess it's it's not. No, it would be your husband's.
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me. So in essence, if Yates tells you that we want to become with the HOA and do everything we can to make what the community perceives as not a great situation with a restaurant being, or any commercial use on that corner, they're not excited about it, and I can understand that. And so we will bring as much cooperation as possible to the community to try to make it be as positive as it can. And I welcome members of the group that are here and the other 600 people that live in that subdivision, my gosh, to go to Wilmington and look at Cape Fear Seafood, and you'll kind of get an idea of the caliber of the establishment. Yates, how large is the building?
The 6,500 square feet.
Yeah, I heard it being at 40,000 feet. That stunned me a minute ago. It's 6,500 square feet, and that's a heck of a lot of difference. So thank you for letting me speak very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
So, as council members, obviously we listen to what you have to say. How many people called each one of us from Waterside? We have relationships with y'all. We've spoke with y'all. We've talked to y'all. I beat the crap out of you last meeting and said, hey, you didn't talk to anybody from Department of Transportation. You're sitting here. You come to me and say you haven't done what you're supposed to do. Then you leave and you do what you're supposed to do. You do go talk to Department of Transportation, and you get those things done that we wanted to see you do. So I want to say I appreciate that aspect, I hope that people understand it's not my job to tell a person what they can and cannot do with their property. It's my job to make sure they follow the rules, 100%. Just make sure we understand that. It's my job to make sure we follow the rules. So if you're following the rules, and looks like you're following the rules so far, I do want to make sure that you do work with them. Bar this gets passed, you do what you have to do on your end, which you will gracefully do that. I'm confident of that, and I appreciate you doing what you said you were going to do. Because if you would have came back to us and said to me, hey, we didn't talk to Department of Transportation, it would be a closed book case for me. You would have to come back again until we figured that process out. So I think you guys are trying to work this out to the best of your ability. When I don't even think technically you have to, if I understand, by the rules. By the rules. But I'm glad you're making a big effort for that. So I just wanted to say that to y'all for sure. So I know you were a little irritated last time. You gave a great presentation. You did give a great presentation, but unfortunately our job is to look after our community and our citizens and to make sure things are right. So, okay. So anyway, yep.
Okay, Hugh.
Real quick, I appreciate you guys coming up, Mr. Chambliss. Kyle, you and I have spoken in the past. I think it was a great thing that y'all came tonight and shared your ideas. Mr. Chambliss, same to you. I have seen your signs. And I just wanted to say, Mr. Bowlesby, I feel like not that they've addressed it, but you can tell, I think they're open-minded to you being concerned about the field dirt and the overflow of the ponds. And Miss Moody with the damage to the roads. we didn't have to instigate them, hey, are you going to address it? They automatically, came forward on their own. Mr. Bryan, you said specific that you would like to get a meeting with the developer. I think they've shown tonight that they're very open to that, and I think it's a good place to start, and I appreciate everybody involved. Thank you.
I just would also like to reference some of the comments made. I have, took direct calls and emails from the Bowlesley family regarding the retaining wall that was put in their backyard and the flooding issues that they had in their backyard. And I just want to make sure that we are not going to make that worse. And it sounds like you're going to follow and get easements to not make that happen, to do whatever you can and make you be a part of this neighborhood. You have to make the right decisions and take care of your neighbors, which also leads to some of the other issues with the entrance on Highway 50 there. We know in the summertime we have lots of problems. Days like today when it's 20 degrees outside this evening, we don't see those problems, but they will come back with a vengeance. So that's why we have been a little protective and asked you so many questions concerning this project and sent you back to DOT to get some questions answered. So at this time, I am going to ask that council make a motion to consider approving the site for Ziggy Ventures.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to approve Ziggy Ventures.
Thank you.
The next item up under new business is the resolution to set public hearing for Morse annexation, and Kyle Brewer will present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Filling in for Carla this evening, a petition was submitted by Jeffrey Morris requesting annexation of his property. The clerk found the petition to be sufficient. The item was sent to the planning board for a zoning recommendation. Staff now request the direction to advertise.
Excuse me, Kyle.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ziggy Ventures,
Mr. Chambliss.
if you want to step outside and exchange information, thank you. It's okay. Yes, it does. Thank you. Okay, Kyle?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just real quick, I'll start over. A petition was submitted by Jeffrey Morris requesting annexation of his property. The property is located along Highway 17, north of the 210 intersection. The item was sent to the planning board for zoning recommendation. Staff now requests a public hearing to be set for February 4th of this year. So simply approving the resolution to move the annexation petition forward.
Anyone have any questions concerning the resolution to set a public hearing for Morris annexation?
Is it a motion or consensus?
This is going to be, I'm going to need a motion.
Adopt the resolution.
Okay, so I have a motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to adopt the resolution to set the public hearing on the Morris annexation. Next item is TI Endeavor Storage and Flex Space Site Plan, and Amy Kimes will present.
In your packet tonight is a request from Michael Afifi for site plan approval for the attached storage unit project. The proposed development includes constructing a 5,200 square foot flex use building, 5 storage buildings which total 34,500 square feet, and 23 boat RV/trailer storage spaces. The total site area is approximately 3.02 acres, with approximately 1.7 acres being disturbed. The property is located behind the existing A&A Builders office building and is part of the overall plan for this development. You have a location and zoning map in your packet for your review. The subject property will utilize the existing A&A Builders Access Realty driveways. The existing driveway provides a separate ingress and egress movement. There will be no additional accesses to 5210. The site will receive water and sewer from the town of Surf City. They are required to receive a state stormwater permit as well as sediment and erosion control from the state, and they have had their wetlands delineated in the back. The sidewalk, so for bike ped facilities, the sidewalk is already along the front of NC 5210, so there will be no additional bike and pedestrian facilities. The proposed site plan provides for off-street parking for the flex space building per our town ordinance. We do not require parking for storage units as most people come, empty their car, and leave. Appendix A, Section 5.11, mini storage facilities requires that a dense vegetative buffer be provided. The intent of the applicant is to utilize existing vegetation to meet this requirement. Staff will go out and make sure that the requirement has been met, and if not, the applicant will be placing additional understory bushes. The architectural has been provided. The proposed project is located behind an existing office building and does not front any roads. Architectural renderings have been provided for your review. He is providing a bricks wainscot for portions of the building facing the roadway. Through discussions with planning staff, they have agreed to add some awnings and lightings, so those additional improvements are with the revised set of renderings that were in your packet. So we, in conversations with Michael, we have spruced up the front side of the flex space building because that is the only building that truly has a customer-facing side. We do not have anything that truly has a primary or secondary facade because the lovely A&A Builders building actually blocks view of this area from the street, and the only thing that would be seen is if you pull up in front of that flex space. I am happy to answer any questions you may have about it. Mr. Fifi is over there, so Michael is here tonight also if you have any questions for him.
Just the one roadway all the way into the back?
Yes, ma'am, so it'll just have the one, well, yes and no. So yeah, it has a circular, you can get around all the buildings, but there is one entrance because the stormwater pond is all the way up against that eastern property line. So you will just have the one entrance. However, you are able to get around the buildings, and fire department has signed off on the ability to get around all those buildings.
Anyone else have any questions? Questions for Amy or questions for A&A Builders? If we don't have any questions, it is requested that the town council consider approving the site plan as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries for TI Endeavors Storage and Flex Space Site Plan. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the manager's report, and Kyle Brewer will present.
Madam Mayor and Council, and those in attendance, I'm going to start off with the Banks Channel project. Norfolk Dredging, who's the contractor for the project, continues to prep to begin work. So far, 2 front-end wheel loaders, 2 dozers have been delivered to the project site. 6,000 feet of plastic pipeline has been delivered and is rafted up in the intercoastal near Sneed's Ferry. This pipe will be transferred over to the beach, fused together in about 500-foot long strings, and used to extend the shore pipe on the beach as the project progresses north. Steel pipe has also been delivered and will be used in the discharge area of the beach fill. Once about 500 feet of steel pipe has been put together, it will be broken apart and replaced by a string of plastic. Steel subline has arrived around the first of the year, and operations to string this together in Banks Channel from the dredge startup area to Hispaniola will be occurring in the near future. We got an update about dredge arrival a few days ago, and the offshore seas forecast has unfortunately delayed the arrival of the dredge. There are a series of coastal low-pressure systems forecast for the next 10 days, the first one that had come through last night, that make the ocean unsuitable for barges to pull the Charleston from Norfolk to Topsail Inlet. The current projection is for dredging operations to begin around January 22nd or 23rd. Between now and then, you will continue to see background work being completed, dredge pipe being strung in Banks Channel, plastic pipe being fused, and then transported to the southern end of the beach fill. The road was cut today, South Shore, following a pre-construction meeting with DOT. The steel subline will cross South Shore Drive by the end of the week, and the pipe connection from Banks Channel to the oceanfront beach will be complete. The saw cut of NC50 was completed on December 27th. Just as a quick reminder, the town was only able to carry this project 1,000 feet north of the pier due to volumetric constraints within Banks Channel of beach quality material, as well as hydraulic constraints with pumping sand that far north. We are on track with the Army Corps project for December of 2025. A couple of updates on the Army Corps project. The town has reached another critical milestone in the project as the Corps has approved the agency decision milestone for the tentatively selected plan. The final report is scheduled to be submitted to the South Atlantic Division next month and then scheduled signed Chief's report in May of 2025. An updated letter of support and financial certification have been provided back to the district. In addition, letters have gone out to our federal and state legislators thanking them for their dedication and support, as well as to help us get to the finish line and continue to set aside state funding for our local match. Solid waste. So since our last meeting, staff has been working with prospective vendors for the solid waste contract in order to seek as much participation as possible. The request for proposals was reissued and the deadline was extended to this past Friday. We have received 4 bids and the solid waste review team will meet next Monday to review and provide a recommendation on future vendor selection. Each town will be tasked individually with contracting directly with the selected vendor. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as a reminder, the town will host a public drop-in meeting this Thursday, January 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. That'll be at our community center to receive input on the future Parks and Recreation desires to help shape long-term vision and strategy for the department. In addition, the public survey is still open for folks to take. To date, we have a little over 150 surveys completed, so we want to make sure people are taking that survey and providing their input on the long-range plan. The town has kicked off our pay study update with individual interviews occurring shortly to help understand certain job position and duties that may have changed since the last study was conducted. It is anticipated that results will be back to the town for budgeting purposes. It is still too early in the process to gauge any potential outcomes or impacts on the town. In addition, I'll be working with HR and the Piedmont Triad Council of Governments to perform a departmental specific organizational assessment of the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Department. The consultant will hold interviews with select Parks and Recreation staff next week. A management letter will be provided at the conclusion of this study to make informed decisions on departmental structure and staffing prior to the onboarding of a new director. I'll be holding interviews for the new director soon. The position is closed from advertisement, and we received a lot of interest from qualified candidates. In total, I think we had 81 applicants for this position. Not all being qualified, so we had tough decisions to make to try to narrow that down. I'll be meeting with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. I'll update them on the progress and process in which we are undertaking so that we can keep things rolling within the Parks and Recreation Department with the departure of our director last week. Finance staff held the fiscal year 25-26 budget kickoff meeting to set the stage for the upcoming budget preparation and process. There are no major changes in milestone dates throughout that process. We'll be fairly consistent with years past in developing that budget to be able to present back to council. Staff begun this week removing decorations throughout town. As always, if you see them working, please allow space and exercise caution. And then lastly, on my report, I did not include this in my submittal to her, but Mrs. Cannon, I'm sure you're still around somewhere, there she is, who has served as the town's communications coordinator and PIO, will be leaving Surf City to pursue another opportunity in western part of the state. We want to wish Kelly success in her new endeavors and thank her for her service. She has immediately become rooted in Surf City, in the community, in the organization, and I just thank you for your service to the town. I think you've elevated our communications back out to the community, keeping people informed of what's going on, and getting them excited about other things that we do on social media that I don't really participate too much in. So thank you, Kelly, for all of your efforts, and you will be sorely missed from the town. So. And, Madam Mayor, that's my report for the month.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll start off with Hugh tonight, Mr. Hugh Cannady.
All right, everybody, thank you. I hope everybody had a great New Year's and Christmas. Big football season. We're still going. You know, I love college football. I want to congratulate my good friend Kyle Brewer and his ECU Pirates. I'm an NC State guy, and we had a little friendly bet on the game, and whoever won, the other person had to wear his colors. Representing some ECU, hook 'em, so go Pirates. I would like to ask afterwards, anybody here that's an ECU fan and or an alumni, if Kelly hang around, we'll get a picture. Yeah. There you go. That's all I got.
Thank you. All right, Jay, bring you.
Yeah, a couple things real quick is I just want to say how excited I am about this Cape Fear seafood. And what I mean is how they took the time to listen to the concerns. They came back and addressed those concerns. And they want to work with our community to make it the best it can be. And I promise you there's going to be a lot of people in that development that turn left right out of that development into that restaurant. So, that's correct. It's beautiful. So number one, A&A, I just want to say thanks, Mike. You put out a great product when you do something. It's always first class in our city. So I just want to say it's noticed, and we like that, and we appreciate that. I want to say that the City Enhancement Beautification, Sandy and these guys that committee has they rolled out this surfboard statue program, which you're going to see around the city. And if you're a business owner or a private individual and you want to partake in that, make sure you contact them or see somebody about it, because it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about getting one myself. And then I want to say, last thing to Mike Ellis, congratulations. It was definitely over your Rudolph. It has nothing to do with has nothing, but you did a great job taking something that's very static, like that property and what you do there, and making it look nice on 17. So whatever the hell it is, okay, no, but on 17, 210, yeah, but thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it and I'm proud of you about that. And so that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, John?
Certainly like to thank everybody for coming tonight. Most of the people left, but they had a reason to come, and I'm glad. Hopefully they're semi-satisfied with what's going to go on. I'm sure it's going to be okay. The gentleman that spoke sounded like he was sincere about what he was going to do. He's certainly been in business for a long time, not just an overnight type deal. And that's about it.
All right, Alicia?
I was going to say I'm super excited about the park. My child has been out there skateboarding for almost 7 days in a row straight. So that's one more thing on my daily agenda that I get to do. But I will say at night it does get dark on that street, and I've seen tons of kids out there biking. So I would ask as a community to please have those conversations with your children. Make sure if they're on a bike and they're going back and forth to the park, you've got a helmet on, you've got appropriate lighting on your bike or your scooter or your skateboard or whatever you're riding. Make sure you've got something reflective so people can see you, because it has gotten a little bit busy in the evenings on that road. And again, with everybody from Waterside, I think I'll echo everyone up here. We've all listened, and our whole objective is to try to get everybody happy and safe in that community and with that project. And we're not in a position to tell businesses they can't make money, and we're not in a position to tell homeowners that they can't live safely. So hopefully that all works itself out, but I appreciate them as well. And I want to say I really enjoyed all of our Christmas decorations this year in Surf City, and our town did a great job with all of the lights that we did have up and the tree. So I appreciate all of our staff for their hard work on all that too.
Thank you. All right, I didn't forget about you, Brett. It is your turn.
You're going to be I'll just let the council know that we did get our notices for the eminent domain on the beach nourishment. So part of what the dredging is going to do is bring the sand to the beach. We've had most homeowners participate voluntarily in granting the town an easement to dump the sand on the beach in front of their house. We've had several that have not. So the notices went out last month. If we have one easement that has come back now, so that's great news. But if we don't have that participation, then we'll unfortunately have to file a lawsuit in order to do that. Obviously, we think it's benefit for not only the town, but also the property owner to have a beach in front of their house. And so we're proceeding on that. And again, tax foreclosures, we're proceeding on the tax foreclosures for those that are delinquent. We've had some people pay, which is great news. That's the goal. The goal is compliance. The goal is not to have to file a tax foreclosure, but those are the two things that we've been working on diligently. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, so I want to say happy birthday to Officer Cowie. His birthday was a couple days ago, so happy birthday. I want to tell Kelly how much I'm going to miss her and how, you know, a storm that normally happens here at the beach happened in the mountains, and she went up there and did a really good job of helping people in distress, and they loved her and she loved that area. So we're going to miss her very much, and I'm sure if you decide to come back, you will have a place here in Surf City waiting for you. Next, I want to just mention, so usually in January, we appoint town liaisons for different departments. And we have external committees and boards to, such as RPO that Hugh Cannady sits on, Jeremy Shugarts sits on, the Greater Topsail Island Alliance, and then there's the Cape Fear Council of Government, Shoreline Protection, Eastern Carolina Council of Governments, which Trudy sits on. All those will stay the same. However, the liaisons between internal of Surf City, it will change. When we have liaisons between that are internal, sometimes city boards and committees can and have recently raised concerns with conflicts of interest, influencing and putting pressure on board members, committee members, and even staff, which has created some confusion and perception of favoritism, and this will not be allowed. I want to make it very clear that as of 1/7/25, there are no more internal liaisons, and the external liaisons will remain the same. And at this time, I would like someone to make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We are now in closed session. Do we have a motion to come out of closed session?
I'll make a motion to come out of closed session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are out of closed session, and there was no action taken in closed session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I have a second.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Very good.